here to talk about the Academy of Art Design to Win contest. Now, if you guys haven't heard about this, it's a great opportunity. The Next Level partnered with the Academy of Art and invited others to submit game designs for the opportunity to win a game design or art course from the Academy of Art University. And we had multiple submissions, but the Academy of Art chose the 3 best. We're going to look at those today, and our distinguished panel of judges here is going to decide which is the best and which game designer author is going to be awarded a course in game design or art. Well, let's first get a chance to get to know you guys. Could you guys introduce yourself, tell us your names and what you do?
My name is D.R. Albright III, and I'm the founder and creative director of Signal Studios.
Great, and?
My name is Greg, and I'm a design consultant.
I'm Dave Goodwine. I run the game. I'm Dave Goodwine. I'm the director for the School of Game Design at the Academy of Art University.
Awesome. And have you guys had a chance to look over these games already?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Were you impressed by the submissions?
Yeah, definitely.
They look pretty
yeah,
good?
For sure.
So we have the weighty task of saying, you know what, one of you guys has promise, you have talent, we want to develop that talent, and this is what the Next Level is all about, coming together, celebrating, and trying to develop our love and talent for video games. So we're going to look at these games. Again, the Academy of Art selected the top 3 out of over 50 submissions, so we have the top 3 for you. We're going to look over those today. They are Left in the Dark by Ben Tanzer, Logic by Andrew Miller, and Rochambeau by Glenn Garwatowski. I'm sorry if that's wrong, Glenn. It's as best I can do. All right, well, let's get started right away with Left in the Dark, created by Ben Tanzer. I think we're going to have a little bit of a look here up on our screen.
You are a ball of light in a world that has fallen into darkness. Being made of light, you are able to float around the decaying ruins of a civilization that has long since gone extinct. They had found a way of harnessing various types of light to power their different devices, while simultaneously building their cities to run off that energy. When the light went out, so did their chances for survival. Darkness has led the evolution of whatever animals could survive without the light, mutating them into aggressive and vicious creatures. You are the last hope, the only one who can return balance to the universe. You must navigate these ruins and discover all the ancestral forms of light to power the old machines so that you can relight the flame of life.
So as you can see, each participant had to submit not only a concept for their game and a description of the features, but also a supporting piece of art. So we got a little bit of a visual as well as some text information. David, what did you think of the concept of Left in the Dark and the experience that players would have walking through it?
I like the concept very much. It's a simple concept, but there's a lot you can do with it in the different worlds and the way it's set up. So I enjoyed it.
So something you think players would enjoy. And Greg, I've been told that you were formerly a game tester.
Yes,
is that
that's
right?
true. Yes.
So you're looking at the features of this game.
Yes.
How do you think that the features are going to interact with players who could potentially play it?
I think that, when you have a lot of different types of light and things like that, you can get a lot of complexity with just people playing and trying to understand how things work and being able to make sure that you give enough explanation as to what is what so that there's not like a super high ramp up. I think that if players were given a good simple progression that they could grasp it and then essentially use the light as tools instead of just trying to wrap their head around what it really means to have those different types as utilities.
I see. Okay. And then, of course, DR, we're also looking at this as an overall experience that's going to be available in multiple different ways. How do you think that this particular designer has done with deciding which platform and which genre to put this game into?
I actually felt like I think the platforms were like console.
Let's double check. I believe that this is a 2D third-person adventure puzzler, and it's going to be ideal to start on the PC and then expand to consoles. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually felt like this game should have been a little more simplified, and it would be a good mobile game, actually. Like, I imagined like a little ball of light on a mobile that you just kind of control and like expand the light. So I actually, contrary to what Dave was saying, thought it was a little too complicated.
All All right, well, it's good to have some differing opinions. I know you guys already had a chance to score these games, and what you did was rank them from a scale of 1 to 3. First place, second place, third place. So let's see where you put Left in the Dark in terms of your scores. I think we're going to have a graphic that'll show us here, the reveal of the score. All right, looks like DR, you put this game in third place. Probably not the most impressive one for you, although all of the submissions are great. Greg, you ranked Left in the Dark second. And David, you ranked it second as well. Are you guys surprised to see the other judges' responses to this?
No, not so much.
It's about what you thought
I
it would be?
figured that's kind of where it would land. Out of the others, yeah.
And we saw also the artwork piece. When we saw that video, we got to see the artwork piece that was submitted. It was kind of this monolith piece. Let's take a look at that one more time, because I'm sorry we didn't get to spend much time on that. Looks like this beautiful monolith that's brought to life by the light, and it's connected to this Titan creature underground. Again, a beautiful piece of artwork, but again, sounds like the game itself needed a little more development, maybe to be more simplified, and it just kind of was middle of the road for most of you guys. So let's move on to the next game. Looks like we're going to be taking a look at Rochambeau. Rochambeau, of course, brought to you by Glenn Gerwitowski. Let's check that game out in this video.
Have stumbled upon Earth along their expedition through the universe. To self-educate themselves about our planet's culture and customs, they study what they intercept from Earth's television broadcasts to discover collections of shows and movies that depict trains, toasters, chinaware, and other odds and ends as lively characters. Unaccustomed to fictional humor and make-believe, the aliens assume that all earthly things must have been vanquished of their life forces and that Earth is a dying planet. In their benevolent efforts to revive Earth and restore all things to their lively states, they set off to bombard the planet with their super technologically advanced rejuvenation ray that has the power to bring any inanimate objects on Earth to life.
So kind of a playful game this time. DR, what did you think of the game concept and experience?
I actually like this one a lot. It was pretty simple and straightforward, and I actually understood this one the best. And I actually liked the background story. It had a little humor to it. And
Something you'd be interested in playing.
yeah, I could really picture this as a game, actually.
All right, and Greg, what about the features of this game? Again, looking at what the player is going to be offered, is this something that would tempt you?
I'm a little bit on the other side from GR. It seemed a little too simplistic on the end, where you have the rock, paper, scissors options, and to me it felt like you really get a lot of it'd get repetitious really fast, or just be really twitch, but I didn't see a lot of depth to it.
Okay, all right, and again, it's really important to consider what platforms this game is going to be coming out on. So it sounds like Rochambeau is an action-adventure platformer, and the game is going to be running on iOS with the potential to expand. Do you think that's the right choice for this game?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it could come out on those, but I feel like it would maybe be more suited maybe for a mobile, or maybe have a mobile aspect to it. This stuff is coming out more and more on consoles, these types of games. But I think the mobile aspect needed to be in there as well. But as a game, I really like the game as simple and the look.
Well, it's important to get some context for what this game is going to look like. So let's take a look at the artwork that was submitted here. Looks like a little bit more of a comical, playful take here. In the hand-drawn design that I know the designer of Rochambeau thought was really important. They wanted to keep it hand-drawn. DR, do you think that's the right choice?
No.
What would you choose?
I like the art, but I think it needs to be more like polished pixel.
David, do you agree?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it could use a little more polish. This gets the idea across, but I think it needs a little more.
In looking for who to award this course to, when you see artwork like this and you're looking and saying, maybe this needs a little more polish, does that tempt you to award a course in art, game art, or design?
Well, I mean, so we teach both game design and we teach game art. So in this aspect, I think this would be the design part is what I like about it. The art we can always change.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
the design part of it, I think it works.
All right, great. So we've gotten feedback from all of you guys. Let's see how ultimately this game stacked up in the scores. All right, DR, you loved this game. Looks like you gave it a 1. Greg, unfortunately, you disagreed with your fellow judges and you put it in 3rd place, while David, of course, you also ranked it as a 1. Greg, are you surprised to disagree with your fellow judges?
I really am, but it's okay. I think it's just that it's, for me, there wasn't enough there. I think that even if it was stylized, I think it could add more to it. But it's still that the mechanics as they stood, I don't think that it could sort of stand the test of time. So that was my primary concern about it.
How would you respond to that, DR?
Polish the art, put this on mobile, and I guarantee I'll make money.
All right, well, that's definitely something that a game should do, absolutely. Well, let's move on to the next game on our list. Of course, that is going to be Logic. Now, let's watch a quick video after I tell you who made Logic.
Logic is set inside a giant clock tower where a maniacal, reclusive, obsessive clockbot, a self-proclaimed sorcerer of inventions named Meticulous, simply dwells and tinkers away. By mere coincidence, a particular light bulb on the top of his staff has been infused with life, without his knowing. As the clockbot continues to work in the labs and levels of his tower toward an ominous, monumental discovery, Logic, the light bulb, will also explore the puzzling levels of the tower from his tiny scale. It's safe to assume that Logic's many small interactions will alert or thwart the intricate systems that Meticulous has put into place.
All right, now, Greg, can you describe your impressions of this game experience a little bit for us? What do you think?
I thought it was awesome. I fell in love with it like right when I read it, even the art submission. I liked the idea of the light bulb going essentially around this room, but being able to impact this larger being that's moving around. Just I don't know, the sense of depth and being able to impact what's happening. It didn't seem overwhelming to me. I liked the puzzle aspect to it, but I liked the idea that there was a purpose. And so, sure, you're hiding, but you're a light bulb, which gives light, so that might make hiding difficult. But it seemed extremely clever to me, and I like the idea of being able to, from the art piece you see from one perspective, but knowing that it's a circle, that there can be a lot more, that the visuals can change, what the character does can impact how the larger creature impacts. I thought it was awesome.
So a unique, fresh take, kind
Yeah,
of on this puzzle.
I really liked the idea.
All
quite
right.
a bit.
DR, what did you think? Did you think the features of the game could keep your interest?
Honestly, I didn't really understand it. I thought it was super complicated. So, actually, Greg just explained it to me, so now I understand. It sounds cool now that Greg explained it to me. But I did like the backstory, and I liked the concept art, and I was kind of attracted to this one, even though I didn't really understand the game.
Okay, so the concept art's pretty exciting, but you would need a little bit more description maybe in-game to be developed so that you would understand the concept better.
Yeah, it sounds, again, too complicated. It sounded like a big team game to me, which I wasn't clear if it should be some guy's just going to make it by himself, because that wouldn't be possible in its current concept phase. So.
All right, and what about you, David? Do you agree with your fellow judges?
Well, I agree that I think it'd be too big for maybe a small team to make. If a larger team could do it. I did like the artwork that was in there. It had a nice look to it, but I do feel like it's more complicated than for a small team to do.
Okay, and it looks like we're already looking at the artwork here. A kind of beautiful, mystical depiction of what the in-game world would look like. What do you think of it, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of frames it out. You have everything in the foreground. You have the background that's no doubt doing things while the character is playing. So I feel like it would be extremely interesting and have a lot of life and movement to it. But even if there's things that you can't interact with, there would always be something to look at, but not necessarily something that would detract from the overall experience and what the player is doing.
Right.
Like if I'm working on a puzzle, I can still do that, but there's still little widgets and things going on.
What was that, DR?
I was just wondering if those light bulbs had little legs on them or something. Like you move the light bulbs around, or maybe Greg
That's how
can
they
answer
get around.
that for me. What's that?
That's how they'd get around with the little feet. I mean, otherwise
okay.
they just
All right.
roll around, then they could fall and break, and
All right, and
Yeah,
then you
be over
stick
real
yourself
quick.
in the.
just yeah,
Sockets?
that's how it goes.
All right.
So a lot of depth to this, and again, this is going to be a 2D platforming puzzle, 3D interactive steampunk genre, running on PC and next-gen consoles. So big title. Do you think that's the best choice for it, David?
Yeah, I think yeah, it would be okay for that kind of. But like I said before, nobody in either one of the three games looked at mobile at all. Everybody looked at console and PC, and I think that's an aspect you need to look at nowadays.
Okay, so a tip for aspiring game designers, you really got to keep that mobile platform in mind.
I think even if you're going to make it a component of your game, which makes things more difficult, but I think that needs to be in there to some aspect.
All right, great. Well, looking at logic, let's see how you guys ultimately ranked this game. DR, you put it in second place. It was middle of the road for you. Greg, this was your favorite game.
Indeed
You put
it
it at
was.
number 1. And David, you ranked this number 3. So all three of you different scores on this game. Does that surprise you, DR?
No, I've actually worked with Greg, and I knew this would be his number one choice.
So what this probably says to us is these were all amazing games. Were you guys impressed overall with the quality of these submissions, Greg?
Oh yeah, definitely. I liked the time and the effort that was put into it, and the documentation, everything that was there I liked it. It was really good.
Very cool. All right, guys. Now, we have all of the final scores tabulated. We are going to announce today the winner of the Academy of Art Design to Win contest. Let's find out who that was. Looks like third place, Logic, second place, Left in the Dark, and in first place, designed by Glenn Gowatowski, it is Rochambeau. Let's hear it for Glenn. Glenn is going to be awarded a course in game design or game art. So congratulations, Glenn. You are one step closer to realizing your dream of designing Rochambeau, which sounds like a pretty fun game. Are you guys overall satisfied? I mean, all of these games were so great. So looking at this, David, are you happy with the winner?
Yes, I very much so. I think it's going to be if they can actually make it. I think it'll be something that'll do well.
And as a representative of the Academy of Art, what can Glenn now expect as he goes into this course, and how is that going to help him along his journey?
If he's interested in the art aspect of it, we have a very rich concept art program. But if he wants to go into the game design part of it too, then we have a lot of game designers and a lot of game classes that teach working on teams, doing fast iterative prototyping. So he should get a lot out of it.
Very, very cool. DR, do you have any final tips for Glenn as he moves forward with potentially making this game that won the contest?
Keep it simple, Rochambeau Mobile.
All right, and what about you, Greg?
I'm sorry.
Any
the question-
tips for Glenn as he moves forward and hopefully making this game a reality?
Oh, just stick with it, and if you fail or something like that, don't let that set you back. Just keep going on it and follow the dream.
And David, I know you already mentioned what Glenn is going to be looking for in these courses, but if you have any final tips or words for him, what would they be?
Work very hard.
All right, there you heard it, Glenn. Congratulations, you made a fantastic game concept. Thank you for submitting your game, and thank you to everybody who submitted your game concepts and game art. Congratulations, and thank you so much, judges. You guys have been such a joy to work with. Thank you for your insight and advice. Guys, we'll be back with more competition from the next level after this.